Greetings, this is Frosty Thundertrod, and today I am here in Broken Roads. I found out about this game last week from Slandered Gaming, so I decided I'd go ahead and give it a try. I used my free coupons from the Salad app to go ahead and buy this game. It's a very indie game, so let's give it a try and see how it does.
They thought ending the world would end the war. That much was passed down. Everything else has been lost. When the bombs dropped, 80% of Australia's population was wiped out, just like that. Those who weren't immediately vaporized carried the radiation inland, poisoning all the pretty places they crawled to. The desert swallowed the rest. Despite it all, we survived. We rebuilt. We even formed strong enough allegiances to have wars of our own. But these wars were of disease, of hunger, of people who'd forgotten the sacrifices that have always been made beyond the steady glows of the cities that now choked with dust. Our great-grandparents made it. We will too. All it takes to thrive in this new world is guts, grit, and hard yakka. That's where you come in.
Alright, so let's create a character. First I gotta select my origin. Hired gun. You grew up with a gun in your hand. If you wanted to eat, you shoot what your parents told you to shoot. Starvation is a powerful motivator. It was that simple. They hired you out when you were in your teens, telling clients that a hungry kid shoots better. After a few years, you worked up the courage to run away. You crossed the outback to make a new life for yourself. You even earned a bit of your reputation. That's why you weren't surprised when you were offered the possibility of a long-term gig with the scouts at Bally Hall. It's a mad world out there, and instead of trying to make sense of it, you've carved your place in it. You'll be damned if anyone thinks you'll just quit. Let's see. +1 awareness, +1 strength, +10 shooting mastery, +5 opportunist. Surveyor. The wide open places call to you, they always have. You spend nights under the stars as a child. Your parents teaching you about constellations, the plants, the animals. The first time you learned how to use a compass, you were hooked. You took off from home young to explore the trackless wastes. It was only a happy accident that you discovered you could make some serious coin by telling people what you found. You loved the thrill of discovering places that fell off the maps, or finding towns that have sprung up since the fall. It's almost as good as getting paid when you tell some new clients what you found. The world is a treasure waiting to be found, and you're just a map maker to reveal its secrets. Attribute bonuses are +1 awareness, +1 intelligence, starting skill vigilance +10, punt +5. Barter crew. You spent your earliest years riding the back of a barter crew wagon, traveling all across Western Australia from Boddington to Bonnie Rock. You have seen thousands of deals go down. You've learned to haggle with the best of them. You were knee-high to a quokka, and by the time you were a teen, you decided it was maybe time to make your own way. You've got a head for numbers, an eye for trade, and a tongue keen for speech. Nothing makes you happier than driving a hard bargain. It's been a hell of a ride. You get your way, you'll hunt down every opportunity in Australia. Attribute bonuses are charisma +1, resolve +1, leadership +10, biology +5. Jackaroo. You were a lost pup. Your parents ditched you at a remote station when you were an infant. The manager brought you in. The station hands took to you. You became a kind of mascot to them. You grew up with tools, and you can fix most simple machines. You learned how to read an animal. care for its injuries, and put it to work. They taught you to hunt, giving you the skills to survive just about anywhere. You were hunting in the bush when the raiders came. First sign you had was the pillar of smoke, and by the time you got back, everybody you knew was dead. You've been on the go since, looking for a new place to settle down. You thought you might have found it at Brooktown. Maybe you could see out your days there. Attribute bonuses, +1 resolve, +1 strength, starting skills, tinkerer +10, biology +5. I think I am going to go with the jackaroo. Name can't be empty. I should... Oh, you want to bet? There. So it can be empty after all. Yeah, let's see. Light brown hair, kind of curly. Let's say that's good enough. Introduction to the Moral Compass. The Moral Compass shows a 360-degree view of possible dialogue options, aptitudes you can hold, and decisions you can make throughout your journey. It is divided into 4 parts: utilitarian, nihilist, Machiavellian, and humanist, with the golden arc representing your worldview, often overlapping different quadrants. Where a decision lies is not always clear-cut, and the borders matter. It's entirely possible to be a utilitarian focused on the greater good for all, which will suit options in the quadrant close to the humanist border. Likewise, you can be a utilitarian quadrant, but leading far more focus in the interests of your own groups, with decisions tending towards the Machiavellian border. Broken roads doesn't reduce things to simply right and wrong or good and evil. And this is reflected in how you can handle the scenarios you face on your journey. Your worldview. The golden arc in the center represents your worldview. Each decision you make affects your position on the compass, rotating the worldview slightly towards the decisions you have made. At the center of the compass are brightly illuminated areas of moral tendencies, which allows your character to make lower-level moral decisions or expressions of ideas that would otherwise fall outside of their worldview. Note that the further a decision is from the center of your worldview, the larger impact it will have on shifting it. Plus, the more decisions you make closer to the center of your worldview, the more narrow-minded you will become, allowing you to make higher-level decisions. Conversely, selecting a wider range of choices will make you broad-minded and often allowing more options, but making certain higher-level decisions and moral traits, perks unique to the character of a particular alignment that can affect your dialogue or combat skills, unavailable. The 4 moral quadrants. Humanist. Each person's dignity matters the most. I choose all meaning. This what matters, but what is inalienable is that every person has worth. For the humanist, each person's dignity matters most. Simply through existing as being a experience and has a being experiencing the world. It should be person. Existing has a person experiencing the world. A tree is a being, but it's not really experiencing anything. It's just sitting there. Utilitarian. Everyone's happiness combined matters most. The greatest good for the greatest number. I believe that everybody's happiness combined matters most, and this can justify causing harm or suffering depending on the outcome. Machiavellian. My group matters most. The ends justifies the means. It favors our pursuit and the maintenance of power. As a Machiavellian, my group matters most, and regardless of the cost of others. Yeah, that's American politics in a nutshell right there. Although poor Machiavelli gets kind of a bad rap. The Prince, which is often cited as him espousing authoritarian, was actually him criticizing authoritarianism. Nihilist. I matter most given there's nothing outside of each individual human experience. Nothing ultimately matters that doesn't bother me. This, the nihilist I, matter most. I don't think that's a good description for a nihilist. And nihilists are generally people that believe that there's no point in doing anything. You know, they just kind of lay around and wait for the end. You know, they have no desire, no ambition. This sounds more like hedonism, which hedonism can be, you know, related to nihilism, because if you're a hedonist, you know, you're going to think, well, nothing matters anyway, so I might as well just enjoy myself. That's more what hedonism is. That's where nihilism, you just believe there is no future. Nothing matters. You don't matter. Existence doesn't matter. You might as well not even be here. Humanist. I would say this is more of an individualist mentality. Utilitarian. The greater good for the greatest number. There is a strong argument for this. But the problem is that when you start talking about the masses, when you're doing what's best for the masses and not for the people, masses are made out of people. So by extension, if the people in the mass don't have any rights, the mass itself has no rights. So you got to acknowledge the need of each individual person's rights in order to be able to have a system of laws to be able to look after everybody's rights. Alright, so apparently we're going to do a quiz here. And you can see as I highlight over the options, the different decisions, the different effect it has on my compass. Question. You and your crew are hacking through the bush when you hear screams off to your right. An unwary bloke stepped on some mating death adders. He and the Sheila who pulled him back have both been bitten. They're in for an excruciating death unless you can help them. The problem is you only got one dose of anti-venom. Humanist. Give them both half of a dose. It's possible that it'll be insufficient, but it's better than simply letting them die. Nihilist. Save it for yourself. It's breeding season. So there'll be more snakes around. Utilitarian. Give one of them the anti-venom and put a tourniquet around the other one's legs and leave to get help right away. Machiavellian. Give it to the bloke, as he is the more senior of the two. He'll remember that you saved his life and could benefit you later. The bloke is the less valuable of the two. Humanist. There's an old saying that if you chase two hares, you catch neither one. In this instance, if I give each of them half of a dose, unless they're very small people, they're both likely going to die. Nihilist. Save it for yourself. It's breeding season, so there's more snakes around. Now, in this instance, there is a strong case to be made. If you don't look after yourself, you can't look after others. But right now, in this situation, I am not in immediate danger. So I have no moral prerogative to protect myself right now. So there's no reason why I can't help another person. Alright. Give one of them the antivenom, put a tourniquet around the... So this is what I would do right here. Utilitarian. I'm going to give the antivenom to the Sheila, and then tourniquet the bloke and get help right away. Question. After a series of raids on caravans passing near your home. You put together a scouting party. You caught a bandit leader and one of his raiders. The leader pleads for release, pledging to comply with your terms. Do you free him? Nihilist. Execute them both on the spot. Better not to have that kind of headache. Utilitarian. Take them back to town to stand trial. This is not your call to make. Humanist. Escort them far away, warning that if you catch them here, they'll be dead. Machiavellian. Tell him that you'll let one of them go free, him or his raider, and he gets to choose which one. Okay. This is sadism, not Machiavellianism. This humanist, escort him far and away, this is stupidity. Because not only can they just come right back because they're going to think that you're a sucker, because chances are if you did this once, you'll do it again. But even if they are afraid of you and don't come back to you, they're still a threat to other people out there. Nihilist. Execute them both on the spot. Better not to have that kind of a headache. There is some value in this proposition, but the problem is that when each person takes justice individually, there is no guarantee that you will actually receive justice. Because while in this instance you know that they are guilty, that they did it, there's no guarantee that, next time you could be just walking by and somebody thinks, walking by a caravan that was raided, and people that come upon it after you were there looking to see what the hell happened think you did it, and now you're looting the caravan and try to execute you. So there needs to be a system of laws beyond just the personal taking care of matters. So I'm going to take him back to town to stand trial. Question. A nearby townstead has a new chief, and he's starting to flex his muscles. He sends an envoy with a threat. Pay tribute or suffer his wrath. He clearly has the military strength to back it up. Do you pay? Nihilist. If he thinks he can take it, let him come. You're not scared of his threats. Machiavellian. Negotiate with the envoy. Escort him back, concealed your top fighters follow in town, publicly execute the envoy, displaying his head on a spike, and when others warn the others to surrender their chief or face the same fate. Humanist. Send scouts to see if he can enforce his demands. If he can, pay up. If he can't, send them a mocking reply and dare him to come take it. Utilitarian. Send an envoy in return and try to negotiate with the new chief. War hurts everyone, and maybe you can work out a way to be of mutual benefit. Alright, in this case, what this is called utilitarian, this is just inviting more attacks. If somebody threatens or tries to intimidate you into paying up, if you pay, you're just going to encourage more of that. Humanist. Sending scouts to see, this already establishes the fact that he does have the military force, but maybe he just thinks he does and you're not sure. But if he really does have the force to come and take it from you, then yeah, it would probably be a good idea to pay ransom while you find a way to build up your strength. Machiavellian. Negotiate with the envoy. This one here actually is not a bad idea, except for the killing the envoys part, because this will definitely send a message that you're not to be messed with, that you are to be treated with respect, and it would eliminate this problem. But another one would come along, and if this another one wants to prove how tough he is, The fact that you've already demonstrated your strength will make you a target because it will make him seem stronger by surpassing you. Nihilist, if he thinks he can take it, let him come. You're not scared of his threats. This is also a valid, if not somewhat risky move to take. So in this case, I'm going to go with Humanist. I don't want to give in to his demands, but if I really don't have a chance to stand up to him and tell him to go pound sand, then yeah, I'm going to have to pay and then come up with a way to deal with him later. Question. A child in the village just started showing symptoms of the plague. The town chose to quarantine him and his family, but you caught him sneaking out of the house to play with other kids. What now? Nihilist. Let him go with a warning. If he's contagious, you're all infected now too. If he's not, no harm done. Machiavellian. It's really rally some neighbors and evict the entire family from town. Make an example of their carelessness. Utilitarians. Send him back to his house under careful guard. The whole family will have to leave town if they continue to put everybody at risk. Humanist. Return them to the house and explain to the family what will happen to the town if they are all infected and make them see reason. Alright, so Nihilist. This is more of the individualist approach. In this instance here, it's not true that just casual contact would spread the disease. While it is possible at the first contact you could pick up enough exposure to become infected, but generally speaking, it takes a little bit of time to gain sufficient exposure. Rally some neighbors to evict the entire family from town and make an example of their carelessness. Once again, this is another bad idea because if you kick this people out of town for being sick, next time somebody has seasonal allergies or a cold, and somebody else doesn't like them or has some sort of a beef with them, they can just run them out of town on the same premise that they're a threat to the community. Everybody's gonna die. So this is a really, really bad thing to do. Humanist. Return him to the house. Explain to him and his family what will happen to the town. Oh, I almost forgot that if you end up kicking them out of town, if you rally the neighbors to evict them, that means everybody that came over to evict them is now exposed to the disease. So you you evicted these people, which is a wrong, and then you spread the disease to your town, which is also a wrong. This one is more reasonable. Send him back to his house under careful guard. The whole family will have to leave town if they continue to put everyone at risk. There is a certain point where, yeah, you have to cut ties. If somebody is endangering others, you have the right to endanger yourself all you want in any way you want, but you don't have the right to endanger others. But at the same token, you got to respect each individual person's, right to live and be a free individual person. So I would say this is a step 2. Humans, return him to his house and explain to the family what will happen to the town if they're all infected. Make them see reason. This is the best step 1 option. So if the first time this happens, this is what happens. But then if they won't see reason, then we go to utilitarian. So I'm going to start with humanist. Question. You're captured by people who've clearly gone mad. Finding yourself in a pen along with a Dew farmer you've met before, a mercenary stripped of his weapons, and a terrified young family. The captors assemble a massive pyre indicating their intent for a twisted sacrifice. Noticing a guard's distraction, you're certain that you can escape on your own. But every person you bring with you increases the chances you'll get caught. Utilitarian. Take advantage of the distraction to try to get everyone out. Save as many as you can. Nihilist. Slip away on your own. Others will simply have to fend for themselves. Machiavellian. Convince the merc to come with you. The Dew farmer can likely find his own way out, but the family will be nothing but a liability. Humanist. Get the family out first. The other captives should be able to handle themselves. Alright. Utilitarian. This is a good option, but it's not necessarily the smart option. This is, instead of going for a nice, you got a good pitch and you're trying to go for a base hit, and this here is you're just going to go for a home run no matter what, even if it would be better, even if you have a certain to get on base, you're just going to go for the home run. So that's what this option is. It's not necessarily wrong, but it's a risky solution. Nihilist, slip away on your own. The others will simply have to fend for themselves. This is a entirely reasonable course of action. Because in this situation, you are in danger, and they're in danger as well. You have a moral responsibility to save yourself. You don't have a moral responsibility to save others, however. So while this is a valid, option, I don't think it's the best option. Machiavellian. Convince the merc to come with you. The Dew farmer can likely find his way out, but the family will be nothing but a liability. Now, this one is like the worst possible solution. Because the merc in this situation is probably the least valuable person. A Dew farmer, is at least a necessary component to society. A mercenary is not. And the family is the most important thing in society. It says a young family, so the mercenary, he definitely has a moral responsibility to get himself out of there. The same can be said for the Dew farmer. However, the young family probably has no capability to get themselves out of there no matter what. But a family is the most important thing in a society or a civilization. From families is where you get your soldiers from. It's where you get your workers from. It's where you get your bureaucrats from. It's where you get your builders from. Everything you need in society has to be made by people, and people are made by families. So in the end, the family is the most important building block and foundation of society. So they are the most important part. So I'm going to go with the humanist option, and I'm going to get the family out first. You discovered a cache of pre-apocalypse supplies in an abandoned farmhouse. You can't carry it all back on your own, so you enlist a few friends from town to help. When you return to the cache, you find a group of emancipated scavengers in the process of looting the place for themselves. Do you let them take the supplies? Nihilist. No way. Threaten the scavengers. If they don't hand over the supplies, kill them. Machiavellian. Let them take the supplies, but secretly follow them back to their home. Once there, you can loot their other goods and kill them all. Humanist, let them go. They're starving and clearly need supplies more than you do. Plus, they had no way of knowing that you found them first. Utilitarian, tell them you found the place first and offer to split the takings. Better you get less than you wanted than to spill blood or get nothing at all. Alright, Nihilist, this is basically just banditry. While you have rights to salvage, they have rights too, so this is a complete wrong. Let them take... This is an even more wrong. You know, Machiavellian would be rolling in his grave to find this ideas associated with his name. Humanist, let them go. They're starving and clearly need supplies more than you do. Plus, they had no way of... See, this is a correct solution. They're not breaking the law by taking these supplies. They're not harming you by taking these supplies, because hopefully you had sense to fill your pack before you went back, so you still got something out of it. But they have equal right to these as you do. You know, who got there first is kind of pointless at this point, unless they knew you had found them and they were trying to undercut you and take them. Which there's, in this question, there's no indication that that's the case. In this case here, I would let them take the supplies and actually invite them to come back and join my settlement, provided that my settlement, you know, had the capacity to support them. And this way, those supplies come back to my settlement. These people come back to my settlement, so they contribute to the labor pool there. And since they have these supplies, they can support themselves until they can start generating their own resources without being a drain on my settlement. This would be the true win-win. This is a... I want to be a good person, but I can't quite let go of stuff option. So I'm going to go with the humanist. Thank you. Please enjoy playing your origin story. Continue. Attributes and skill trees. Calculated from 2 attributes. Fortitude is strength and agility. Temperance, and risk, and resilience and awareness. Okay, they're not standard RPG stats, so took me a minute to figure out what rest and AWR were. So it's resilience and awareness, wisdom, intelligence, and charisma. Each origin story comes with a unique bonus. For a hired gun, those are +1 strength and awareness, for a minimum of 2 in each attribute. +10 to shooting mastery, +5 to opportunist. The example on the right with an 8 in resolve and 13 awareness. All skills in the temperance tree start off at 21. Shooting mastery has a bonus of 10 from the hired gun's background. In combat, movement points are derived from agility and strength, while action points are determined by agility and intelligence. Keep that in mind when distributing attribute points. The punt skill. One of the unique skills in Broken Roads is the ability to have a punt. Essentially, take a risk on something uncertain. Your player character has a pool of punt points they can draw on if they need to attempt a skill check that they fall just short of, or if they want to increase the accuracy of a particular attack in combat. Punt is derived from charisma plus any additional points added to the punt skill. Each additional skill point doesn't directly equal 1 additional punt point, however. Skills attain different effects whenever a threshold is reached. For example, the character has rank 2 punt skill. Increasing their punt from 32 to 50 would place them at rank 3, and so on. Alright, so punt sounds like just luck to me. Alright. So now for my attributes. Let's see. Strength Power and energy affects melee damage, health points, movement points, and intimidation checks. Agility, reflexes, and speed affects action points, movement points, initiative, armor, critical hit chance, and dodge. Sounds kind of important. Resolve, endurance and toughness affects health points, damage reduction, and resistance to certain status conditions. Awareness, perception, and insight affects range damage, accuracy, critical hit chance, dodge, and helps avoid ambushes. Sounds important to me. Intelligence, wit, and intellect affects action points, initiative, intimidation checks, and resistance to certain status conditions. Charisma, charm, and appeal affects the number of pump points and persuasion checks. Alright, so I have 10 points to spend. So I am going to put... There we go. Take awareness to 8. Intelligence to 8. Resolve to 8. And then put 2 points in agility, taking that up to 7. Now for skills, I have 30 skills. Alright. So, biology. You know what makes people tick physically? Use restorative items from utility slots to heal and revive allies. Each point in biology increases the effectiveness of healing items by 1%. Leadership. Set an example for those around you. Each level in leadership is plus 1% chance that all companions gain plus 1 initiative at the start of combat. Punt we just covered. Tinkerer. Use swanky devices that understand what Cole is on about. Grant use of 2 utility slots for healing items or beer. I'm guessing he doesn't mean Cole the Cornstar, so this is probably a character in the game that has some significant role. So I'm going to put 2 points into Tinker to unlock the 25. We'll put 7 into Biology to get the 25. Oops, just 25. Shooting Mastery. Make every shot count. For you, not them. Bonus damage, accuracy, and critical hit chances while wielding a ranged weapon. Increases the accuracy of ranged attacks by 0.5% per point of shooting mastery. Deadeye. Take time to line up your shot. Make the attack with bonus to accuracy. Each point in Deadeye increases the accuracy of the skill by 0.5%. Vigilance. Keep your finger on the trigger and your eyes down your sights. Prepare for an attack and fire the first enemy who moves within range. Increases the accuracy of this ability by 0.2, say 0.2% or 20% of a percent. That don't make no sense. 0.2% per point for each level above 100, increasing the accuracy of this ability by 0.5%. While equipped with a loaded ranged weapon, this character spends 3 action points plus their remaining action points to prepare an automatic attack on the first person who moves within a chosen 100-degree arc. This attack will be made with a +5 bonus to critical hit chance. Each unspent action point grants 1% accuracy bonus ends a character's turn. That could be useful in certain situations. Drunken Master. You can handle your liquid courage and use it and a scrap. Gain a number of bonuses from consuming alcohol. While tipsy, drunk, or shit-faced, I like that, shit-faced, increase the damage this character's attacks dealt by 0.2% per point. I can see why this would... must be a melee skill, because I can't see how a gun would do more damage by being drunk. Although throwing a punch with no concern for, it might hurt your knuckles when you hit them in the face. I can see that, increasing your damage output. Throwing. Throw eligible items from a utility slot. Throwing distance increases by 0.2% per point. Opportunist. Help yourself to a free swipe at enemies doing a runner. Chance to make an attack on enemies moving out of melee range. Opportunist starts with a negative 50 penalty to accuracy, and every point you add to the skills gives it a plus 1% accuracy, so 50 opportunist results in a 0% penalty advantage. While this character is equipped with a melee weapon, they can make an attack on enemies attempting to move out of melee range. So this is an attack of opportunity. Barbican. Shrug off damage like a brick shit house. Assume a defensive stance, gaining immunity to being flanked until this character's next turn. Active ability. Assume a defensive stance, reducing incoming damage by 0.5% per point. Barbican. Ends character's turn. Unspent action points reduces incoming damage by 2% per point remaining. Melee Mastery. Beat the heck out of someone with melee weapons. The skill grants bonus damage, accuracy, and critical hit chance and initiative while wielding a melee weapon. Characters can equip melee weapons and perform melee attacks. Increases accuracy of melee attacks by 0.5% per point. Alright. I'm thinking throwing might be useful for grenades and that sort of thing. But I'm going to be a ranged attacker. See, I have 21 points left. So let's get shooting mastery up to 25. Now, I'm not going to have a whole bunch of action points, so I need to make the actions I take matter. So let's take... Deadeye up to 25. So that leaves me 13 points. So, I could take throwing up to 25, or I could take leadership up to 13. I would say a 1% chance. It's not really significant. So I'm going to go for throwing. Ooh, especially that. Yeah, 10% chance to catch and send something back. Yeah, that's a good option. Alright, so 16 there. So I'm going to need 9 more points to take that up to 25. Alright. Oh, I was looking at, for some reason I was looking at my wisdom score instead of my to spend points. I'm going to start my journey. Stranger, he runs a hand down his arms and legs as you approach, sloughing off waves of red dust. Welcome to Tyler's farm. Continue. Jacob said you were on your way, mate. We're delighted to have you. He claps his hand on your shoulder and gives you a friendly shake. It's good land down near Wandering Haven. Seen it myself, of course. Haven't seen it myself, of course. You heard right. Lots of good, rich soil. Sean, it's a far cry from where you've been here then. He pats more of the dust off his pants. Continue. Regardless, you find the work here a little different to what you're used to. Wandering's farmland, but here we mostly raise sheep, camels, and pigs. We keep the roos and rabbits out and occasional poacher. Think you can handle it? I answer, well, we'll find out, won't we? Then let's get you started. He pushes up his sleeves to his elbow and looks around the farm. We got sheep dung to move into town for the garden, water to fill the tubs in the overnight paddock, and a stuck windmill. There's a bucket and a shovel in the trailer for the manure. Well, spent too much time shoveling manure as a child on a horse farm, but you won't fault it if you can't get the windmill going. It's about time we sent up to Meriden for parts anyway. He peers into the distance. Oh, and a jumbuck's gone and got his head stuck in the fence again. I don't know what a jumbuck is. I'm guessing it's a sheep. Probably bitey. Go on the outside and give him a shove back in, will ya? Come find me when you're done. He head towards the overnight paddock, where a sheep is hobbling around on an injured leg. Player camera movement. Let's see. Move your character around the map. Left click an area. Pretty much standard CRPG stuff. Alright. Make a save, and I'm going to call this video to a close right here. And next time I'll come back and get started on an actual adventure. Thank you very much for watching.